Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. And when we talk about NXIVM, when we talk about the sentencing, when we talk about justice, there's little of that in regards to this case. Most people look at NXIVM and still think that, Keith Raniere was this mastermind. I'm highly doubtful of that. I really don't think that he is quite the manipulator that he has been portrayed in the media. And Claire Bronfman, who you see behind me, has sort of been portrayed as a victim. And you have to wonder if some of that Seagram's money, some of that Hollyweird money, some of that, what music industry was it that her brother Edgar Jr. got involved in? Man, I want to say it was MCA, but I'm going to get off that because I'm not 100%. But all these different revenue streams in which she actually spent, and this is mainline. She actually spent 13 plus million on Keith Raniere's defense alone. Can you imagine the PR that's gone out there? And the big news earlier this week is that she got 81 months. Now, I'm not sure whether or not there's going to be an appeal here, but originally she was supposed to get 21 to 27 months, and if she didn't, then there would be an appeal. With this 81 months, however, it's coming out today that guess what? She's going to a Connecticut country club because the rules that surround you and I do not surround members of the predator class. In fact, they often come to one another's aid. As we have a Rockefeller heiress, one of the granddaughters of David Rockefeller, signing on to a petition with a bunch of other little, predator class acolytes, family members, bloodlines, robber baron class, whatever you want, signing this petition saying to prosecutors, you better sign this pledge that you did nothing unethical in this case. What? Nothing unethical in this case. The truth of the matter is that we didn't find out probably 1/10 of what was actually going on there. That Emiliano Salinas was protected by his father, Carlos Salinas, the former president of Mexico, as many people don't even realize that he was involved in that. Allison Mack has kind of been portrayed again as a victim. I wonder if some of that PR money was in there. When that initial indictment, that arrest, talked about child trafficking. And then it was scrubbed for some reason. And then all of a sudden, she was she was the face of this thing, and then they pulled it back. So much to go over. We're going to hit it all, but I want to remind everybody to thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. Join the Burmis Brigade. Because, again, we're fully demonetized here. 100% demonetized. 6 months. Half a year. They're never going to review my channel. Why would they review my channel? They've already decided anything out of the authoritative content that is promoted by NBC or CBS or Fox News is not allowed on this platform. All right? And I wonder how much longer it will be before I'm kicked off completely. And that's why, as soon as we get going, again, we're in Iowa now. We're here. We did it with your help. We're kicking off the new GoFundMe today. It's late, but I still have to go back to New York and get my car. When I come back to New York from New York with my car, and I'm all moved in, I'm all settled up. Believe me, guys, it was tough enough just to get this studio up and running in a couple days. And then I'm trying to get a secondary one in my living room, which should be very interesting, and maybe even a second YouTube channel. But what we're going to do when I get back is going to be 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 11 a.m., 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Monday through Friday, we're only going to go live where? Over on Rockfin for free. So make sure you get the free Rockfin account right now. And then we're going to turn that into premium. We're going to cut those videos up and repost here on YouTube where we will premiere them. I want to remind everybody, all the documentary films are free in the playlist section. Go check them out. Share them with friends and family. All right, let's get into it. Claire Bronfman sentenced to nearly 7 years in prison for role in NXIVM. Now, let's not forget that to this day, she has refused, that is, refused to condemn Raniere. Now, some people will say that's, because of the brainwashing. I don't know that's the case. I feel like by making him out to be the mastermind of this, then there's a scapegoating effect, and she can still play the victim. Remember, Sarah Bronfman never came back to the States. You have to wonder if she's going to face any kind of justice, and I assure you, again, these 81 months, which she won't even serve that. She won't even serve that. 81 months, I would be surprised if she does 50. Without some kind of a work release program or a parole or a house arrest arrangement, right? Does that sound like justice to you for, one girl who was, I don't know, locked in a room for 2 years and tortured for kissing another man outside of Raniere? And by the way, that girl was underage when she got into the relationship with him? And there was a plethora of other underage girls, including Gina Hutchinson, who ended up taking her own life. Okay? Let's not look into the death of Pamela Caffritz. There are so many things in this case. Again, so many intricate details that we covered, a year and a half, 2 years ago, 2+ years ago, over at We Are Change when I was over there. And most people, again, just think, sex cult, Seagram's heiress, Hollyweird. It's much more than that. And in this article here, they start, pondering whether or not Claire Bronfman herself had been basically blackmailed. And although Raniere did set that up, I would say it was the other way around. I don't feel like she was the one blackmailed into this. I think there was a lot of different blackmail operations going on. Weird, right? Especially to do with cybercrime. That's what they don't tell you about this case. If you go and watch, it's actually in my documentaries playlist section, but I went to one of these open forums that the Times-Union put on. And remember, the Times-Union was a local paper out of Albany that had been really covering this more than anybody. Okay? And when you went to that, you realize that these guys were into digital espionage. Okay? All over the place. Compromising people. You don't want to talk about cyberbullying or bot accounts. They were ahead of the curve on this. And the one thing that's interesting about this article is they talk about the possibility of her spending $100 million plus during her time at NXIVM, which is possible. But then again, you ask yourself, where is this money coming from? I get it, she's the Seagram's heiress. I get it, they have investments all across the board. I get it, Edgar Bronfman Sr. was head of the, the Jewish Congress? He's also a Medal of, the American Presidential Medal. I think that Clinton gave him that. I mean, the Bronfmans, the Clintons, big time. NXIVM donating to Hillary Clinton way back in her Senate case. These families absolutely involved with one another, okay? And I would encourage people, that really want to see some of the more in-depth reporting to go to the Frank Report. Here, he gives basically a breakdown of the entire proceeding, the 4-hour hearing. And again, you had all these impact statements. You had all these victims out there. You have all this public information. And you know what they're not talking about? Things like the Rainbow Cultural Garden. Oh, it gets creepier than just, underage girls who are teenagers being brought up from Mexico and throughout the world as teachers for the Rainbow Cultural Garden. You see, the Rainbow Cultural Garden itself is preschool. That's not just in one area. Okay? Miami, Europe. And they weren't even shut down immediately after Raniere was arrested. And yet all of this goes on Rockefeller era signs petition demanding prosecutors sign this affidavit that said they did no misconduct against Keith Raniere. You see how that works? The billionaires and their little minions and their offspring, what? Saying you're the bad guy. Thanks, Abby Rockefeller. You're the bad guy. You are. Who else is on there? Alyssa Bush. Is that Amanda Knox? That can't be. Maybe. Yeesh. That's weird if it's the Amanda Knox I'm thinking of. But geez. But again, it shows you how they try to flip the script all the time. And again, when you look at Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, anybody with a brain realizes Hunter Biden, who was a crack addict, who was, discharged from the military, even with his father being in prominence then, right? He's making big-time money in the Ukraine. He's pulling $3.5 million checks from the former mayor of Moscow's wife. Well, that's because nepotism is real. And Carlos Salinas has done a tremendous job in protecting his son, Emiliano. You want to see some creepy videos? You watch Emiliano Salinas with the members of NXIVM down in Mexico in their green shirts and everybody in this weird, happy state. Something else was going on here. A lot more was going on here. And again, we need to take it as a slap in the face that they have now agreed on a minimum security Connecticut camp. Think about this. Look at this in relationship to the Harvey Weinstein case. Now, Harvey Weinstein, sexual predator, basically running large swaths of Hollywood. Miramax huge, right? Ruining careers, hiring Black Cube, a.k.a. former Mossad and IDF agents to follow people around, investigate them, run sabotage campaigns, right? Weinstein gets 28 years, but the women that he abused not only were, again, they social climbing actress types, people that were longing for fame, and you saw some of this in NXIVM, right? That's how they were able to do DOS. That's how they were able to do the branding. That's how they were able to get people like Allison Mack and then Nikki Klein and this recruitment of lower-level actresses, again, feeding on the fame. But with Weinstein, okay, they kept coming back after the fact. There were many of them that had relationships with him for years after the fact. Now, Weinstein never put them on sadistic diets. Weinstein never branded them. And by the way, as far as I know, the underage girls that were abused by Raniere and I believe others, because obviously some of these things took place around other members of quote-unquote DOS and NXIVM, right? And we all know about that. We know there were videotapes. We know there were photographs. All of these things going on. And you know that Claire Bronfman was absolutely privy to them, right? These victims weren't there to be Hollywood actresses or superstars. So why is it that Weinstein gets 28 years and he's at Rikers and Claire Bronfman isn't even going to get 8? Does that make sense to you? It shouldn't. As far as we know, Weinstein had nowhere near as many child victims, as far as we know, as NXIVM did, right? Because we do have some accusers now who were 16 years old, etc., accusing Harvey. So much to look at, so much yet to explore. We're still waiting on the sentencing of Raniere himself. And I just want to say again, this sentencing is terrible. Putting her in a Connecticut, camp, terrible. The fact that she won't even serve close to 71 months, terrible. And we need to kick and scream about this. Period. Amen. And we can't let this story go by the wayside. In fact, we need real investigative journalists to dig even deeper than they have before. And props to the Times Union. And props to the Metro that isn't the defunct paper that it is today, that, led the way well over a decade ago on NXIVM. And props to Frank Parlato, who, started the Frank Report after working for these people. And again, there's just so many odd things about this, from Roger Stone coming in as a consultant, okay, to so much more. You should go check out my NXIVM playlist after this if you don't know half of what I just went over. Folks, remember, fully demonetized on this channel, 6+ months. Today is the first day of Burmese Brigade Media Month 16. Without you guys, I can't do it. Small donations, $5, $10, $15. They mean the world to me. Big donors, again. Without you, I wouldn't have been able to move. Without you, I wouldn't have been able to get my family out of New York and into Iowa. And if you're watching what Cuomo's doing, re-shutting down, making a color-coded terror-type chart now for cluster areas, that's the model, folks. They don't want anything going back to normal. There is no normal anymore. They want their new normal to be a track, trace, database, slave society. That's where we're at. This is a transhumanist automation nation agenda, and it was led by New York State Andrew Capo Cuomo, listening to, yes, his predator class overlords. So again, if you can donate, great. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate it here. Remember, share the videos. Share the documentary films. Don't just share them, as a post. Individually DM them to people. Say, you need to watch this. You need to check this out. This has some great information. That's how we reach people. Thumbs up, subscribe, and share. And remember, we're going to be doing it big more and more over on Rockfin, which is like a Netflix for creators, where you're going to get a 2-hour exclusive stream 5 days a week. If you can tune in live. And if you're a premium member, you can tune in late and you'll get all the content. So guys, thanks for joining me. Oh, and let's tease this one here. Whitney Webb on later today. I'm just going to leave it on that. We got Whitney Webb on for 1 hour today. I believe it's at 5:30 Eastern Time, so make sure to tune in to that one. We'll see you on the flip side. Love you guys.